While most Americans were busy arguing about charging station rollouts and range anxiety, a quiet revolution was brewing in the shadows of the automotive industry. Behind closed doors, major automakers and tech companies were developing technology that could eliminate the need for charging cables entirely. But here's the twist: they were trying to keep it secret. Today, that technology is ready to reshape not just how we power our cars, but who controls America's energy future. Picture this. You pull into your garage, step out of your electric vehicle, and walk away. No plugging in, no fumbling with cables in the rain, no worrying about whether you remembered to charge overnight. Your car simply powers up through invisible electromagnetic fields, like something out of science fiction. This isn't a pipe dream anymore. It's wireless electric vehicle charging, and it's been hiding in plain sight for over a decade. The story begins in 2007 at MIT, where researchers first demonstrated the ability to power a 60-watt light bulb wirelessly from 7 feet away. They called the technology Wi-tricity, and while everyone was impressed by the magic trick, few understood its true potential. What started as an academic curiosity would eventually become the foundation for a technology that could fundamentally alter the global automotive landscape. But here's where things get interesting from an American perspective. While MIT researchers were pioneering the science, German engineers at the Fraunhofer Institute were quietly building the business case. In 2016, they spun off a company called Wi-Farian, positioning Germany to lead the commercialization of wireless charging technology. For years, this company operated in relative obscurity, developing industrial wireless charging solutions while the automotive world focused on building out plug-in infrastructure. Fast forward to 2023, and suddenly Elon Musk's Tesla made a surprising move. The company that had famously dismissed wireless charging as inefficient quietly acquired Wi-Farian for an estimated $76 million. But just as mysteriously as they bought it, Tesla sold the operational business within months, keeping only the engineers. This wasn't about the technology itself. It was about the talent. Tesla had effectively executed what Silicon Valley calls an acqui-hire, absorbing German wireless charging expertise while avoiding the regulatory complexities of commercializing the technology immediately. This strategic maneuvering reveals something crucial about the current state of wireless charging. The technology works, the standards exist, and the efficiency problems have been largely solved. Current wireless charging systems achieve 93% efficiency from grid to battery, matching the performance of traditional plug-in chargers. So why the secrecy? Why aren't these systems everywhere already? The answer lies in a complex web of industry coordination challenges, regulatory hurdles, and strategic positioning that goes far beyond simple technology development. The Society of Automotive Engineers has been working on standardizing wireless charging since 2012, creating the J2954 standard that ensures different manufacturers' systems work together. But achieving this standardization required unprecedented collaboration between competitors, something the automotive industry historically struggles with. Meanwhile, automakers were conducting their own secret trials. BMW ran a limited pilot program in Germany and California between 2018 and 2020, equipping just 200 vehicles with wireless charging capabilities. Genesis, Hyundai's luxury brand, went further, installing 23 wireless charging stations across South Korea and modifying 22 vehicles for extensive testing. But these weren't marketing campaigns. They were carefully controlled experiments designed to understand real-world performance without creating consumer expectations the technology couldn't yet meet. The Genesis pilot program is particularly revealing. Despite achieving 11 kilowatts of wireless power transfer with 93% efficiency, the program was quietly discontinued in 2023. The official reason? Consumer complaints about charging speed. Even at 11 kilowatts, wireless charging took 8 hours to fully charge a vehicle. Acceptable for overnight charging, but frustrating for consumers accustomed to DC fast charging that can add 80% charge in 20 minutes. This highlights a fundamental challenge facing wireless charging adoption in America. American consumers, more than those in other markets, prioritize speed and convenience. The success of Tesla's supercharger network isn't just about reliability. It's about the psychological comfort of rapid charging that eliminates range anxiety. Wireless charging, despite its ultimate convenience, currently operates at level 2 speeds that require a mindset shift from rapid refueling to continuous topping off. But recent breakthroughs suggest this limitation may be temporary. Oak Ridge National Laboratory, a Department of Energy facility, has shattered power transfer records with demonstrations reaching 270 kilowatts wirelessly. Their secret weapon is something called polyphase electromagnetic coupling, which generates rotating magnetic fields that deliver power densities 8 to 10 times higher than conventional wireless systems. This isn't just an incremental improvement, it's a fundamental architectural advancement that could enable wireless DC fast charging. The implications for American competitiveness are significant. Oak Ridge's achievements represent the kind of government-backed research and development that has historically given America technological advantages in emerging industries. But the commercialization race is far from over. Chinese companies are aggressively pursuing wireless charging technology, viewing it as an opportunity to leapfrog Western infrastructure development. If China successfully scales wireless charging manufacturing and deployment first, American automakers could find themselves buying critical components from Chinese suppliers, repeating the battery supply chain dependence that currently concerns policymakers. This dynamic becomes even more complex when you consider the infrastructure requirements. Wireless charging doesn't just require new vehicles, it requires new roads, new parking facilities, and new urban planning approaches. Detroit has installed America's first public dynamic wireless charging road, where vehicles can charge while driving. But this quarter-mile demonstration, developed by Israeli company Electrion, represents just the beginning of what could become a massive infrastructure transformation. Sweden, Germany, France, and Italy have announced plans to electrify thousands of kilometers of roadway using dynamic charging technology. If these projects succeed, European cities could become showcases for wireless electric mobility, potentially attracting automotive investment and tourism, while positioning European companies as leaders in smart transportation infrastructure. America risks being left behind if federal and state governments don't coordinate similar initiatives. The geopolitical dimensions extend beyond simple economic competition. Wireless charging technology could fundamentally alter the strategic calculus around energy independence. If vehicles can charge while driving on electrified highways, battery requirements decrease dramatically, reducing dependence on lithium, cobalt, and rare earth minerals that are largely controlled by China. Smaller batteries mean lighter vehicles, lower costs, and potentially faster adoption of electric transportation across American society. But achieving this future requires coordination across multiple industries and government levels. Automakers need to standardize receiver technology, utility companies must upgrade grid capacity, and governments need to integrate wireless charging into infrastructure planning. The complexity makes the current charging station rollout look simple by comparison. Private companies are already positioning themselves for this transformation. Rheinmetall, the German defense contractor, has developed curbside wireless chargers that integrate seamlessly into urban environments. Their system completed over 2,800 charging sessions with 99% uptime during field trials in Cologne, demonstrating commercial viability. But Rheinmetall isn't alone. Companies like Ytricity, Hevo Power, and Wave are all developing competing approaches to wireless charging infrastructure. The competitive landscape reveals another challenge for American companies. While Oak Ridge leads in research and Tesla dominates electric vehicle sales, the wireless charging supply chain is developing globally. Ytricity, despite its MIT origins, partners with Korean, German, and Japanese manufacturers. Electrion, the dynamic charging leader, is Israeli but deploys systems globally. America's advantage in software and system integration could be neutralized if hardware manufacturing concentrates elsewhere. Consumer acceptance remains the ultimate wildcard in this technology's future. Early pilots suggest positive reception when systems work reliably, but consumer education will be crucial. Americans understand plugging in their phones wirelessly, but may struggle with the concept of parking precisely over charging pads. The success of wireless charging will depend partly on how well automakers integrate the technology with automated parking systems and user-friendly interfaces. The timeline for widespread adoption is accelerating. Industry experts predict significant market penetration by 2026 to 2028, driven by the convergence of standardization, cost reduction, and infrastructure deployment. Chinese automakers are likely to integrate wireless charging first, given their faster development cycles and greater government coordination. Korean manufacturers like Hyundai are actively developing systems for their next-generation electric platforms. German manufacturers are leveraging their engineering expertise and EU regulatory influence. American automakers face a strategic choice. They can continue the cautious approach of limited pilots and gradual development, risking competitive disadvantage as international competitors scale deployment. Or they can accelerate wireless charging integration, potentially facing higher costs and technical risks, but positioning themselves as innovation leaders in the transition to electric mobility. The federal government's role will be crucial in determining America's competitive position. The Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act allocated billions for electric vehicle charging infrastructure, but most funding targets traditional plug-in stations. Redirecting some resources toward wireless charging demonstrations and standards development could accelerate American leadership in this emerging technology. The Department of Energy's continued support for Oak Ridge research provides a foundation, but commercialization requires broader coordination. State governments also have opportunities to influence this technology's trajectory. California's advanced clean cars regulations and zero-emission vehicle standards could be updated to incentivize wireless charging adoption. Texas, with its independent power grid and large automotive manufacturing base, could become a testbed for dynamic charging highways. Florida's tourism industry could benefit from wireless charging integration at hotels and attractions. So here's the reality check. The charging technology automakers tried to hide isn't just ready. It's being deployed globally right now. The question isn't whether wireless electric vehicle charging will transform transportation, but whether America will lead, follow, or get left behind in defining how that transformation unfolds. Will American consumers embrace the convenience of cordless charging, or will they cling to the familiar ritual of plugging in? Will American companies capture the value of wireless charging innovation, or will they find themselves buying components from international suppliers? Most importantly, will America's infrastructure and regulatory frameworks adapt quickly enough to support this technology transition, or will other nations establish the standards and supply chains that define the future of electric mobility? The answers to these questions won't just determine the success of wireless charging. They'll shape America's position in the global electric vehicle industry for decades to come.